Let me report what happened. We came upon some sort of bridge, in front of some grand castle, seemingly that of a king. However, said king was in front of us, outside his own castle. It stood in an iron armor, with a great sword in its hands. You could guess it was the king from the crown it wore upon its head and the majestic cape. Otherwise, you could probably have mistaken it for a knight. You would expect the king to stand on his throne, behind his subjects, commanding them. But this one didn't. It stood alone outside its castle. At first, one could have said it was exemplary for a king to stand in front of the battle to protect his army. However, after closer inspection, mainly from the abnormality running into us, it appeared to not be the case. Not only its demeanor wasn't one of protection, rushing into the enemy and leaving the castle alone, but numerous bloodstains adorned his armor and sword, and they weren't the sinners. Yet, it had already battled. The king fought recklessly, leaving many openings, including the sinners' bodies. It didn't have anybody to protect it, but it also didn't have anybody to protect. This allowed it to express itself entirely in this fight. It was a force to be reckoned with, the one standing above others. Its wings were wide and powerful. It had no restraint around it, and even if it did, I don't think it would have mattered. Its great sword ceremoniously slashed all in front of it. I imagined it for a moment as a ruler, cutting everything that stood in its path. At some point, I forgot it was an abnormality. Its looks and fighting style were entirely one of a knight or a king with its cape. Some things reminded me it was one, like the lack of eye slits on its helmet and the appearance of weird cut and strained bandages coming out of its armor. Those were strange. I thought they were used to heal its wounds, but they didn't seem to serve any purpose. Maybe they did before, but not anymore, like remnants of an old past. As the battle was nearing its end, I had a thought about what happened to this king. While looking back at the castle, I noticed it was in shambles, and huge blood stains could be seen on some windows. The entirety of its inhabitants were probably killed. As for why or what, the final clue appeared as our sinners dealt the finishing blow, triumphing over this beast of a man, or abnormality rather. As it fell to the ground, we could briefly see under its cape a dagger planted in its back. As it turned into its egg form, this dagger remained on the back of it. I looked back at the castle, then the dagger, and realized that the enemies this king fought might have been closer to it than I thought. I wondered if it was betrayed, or if it was the result of its betrayal to its own people. I was reminded that abnormalities didn't have a real story behind them, and that searching the answer was pointless. All I could be sure of is that this king was left without people to rule over, and without any responsibility. Concluding report, may we keep our sanity in this inferno.